Teoscar Hernandez zipped his travel bag inside a quiet Milwaukee suite, while his Dodgers teammates unpacked across the street. It wasn't bad blood or bad ratings that made him leave, it was ghosts. His wife had heard enough haunted whispers about the Pister Hotel to insist they stay somewhere else, even in the middle of the National League Championship Series. Within hours, headlines appeared. Dodgers outfielder switches hotels mid-series. No scandal, no injuries, just superstition. The question hanging behind that headline: how much does belief really cost a professional team? What happens when million-dollar comfort becomes part of playoff logistics? From haunted hallways to lucky shorts to pre-match routines, superstition doesn't vanish with data or analytics. It invoices the organization. To see how belief found its way onto the expense sheet of modern sports, we start back in Milwaukee, the city where a century-old hotel keeps haunting baseball's travel plans. The Pister Hotel has hosted presidents, movie stars, and nearly every Major League Baseball team passing through Wisconsin. Built in 1893, it's one of those places that creaks with history, and according to visiting players, something else entirely. Dodgers outfielder Teoscar Hernandez had no problem staying there on his own, but once his wife Jennifer joined the road trip, the stories started spreading. Lights flickering, footsteps in empty halls, doors moving on their own. She didn't want to test the legends, so Hernandez packed up and moved out. He's not the first. Mookie Betts, one of the Dodgers' biggest stars, routinely rents short-term homes or Airbnbs during Milwaukee series to avoid the same hotel. Other players described sleepless nights, strange noises, and radio dials that change on their own. Some laugh it off. Others make it a rule: never book the Pister. If that rule sounds harmless, think again. MLB teams plan travel months in advance. Group rates are locked, contracts signed, meals coordinated. When a single player pulls out, especially a star, those bookings can unravel. There are driver changes, extra security, last-minute room fees, and sometimes whole renegotiations. A luxury suite can cost $1,500 a night. Multiply that across multiple games, add security detail, and the tab easily reaches 5 figures before you even account for transportation. One team executive once joked that a player's peace of mind package can cost as much as a bullpen reliever's annual per diem. But inside team offices, there's no sarcasm about comfort. Sports psychologists often remind managers that belief directly affects performance. If a player thinks they'll lose sleep or carry anxiety into a high-stakes game, forcing them to conform to standard travel logistics isn't worth the risk. Losing one night of security control might cost thousands. A poor playoff performance could cost millions. In that sense, teams see superstition as mental health insurance. They'll cover the bill if it means avoiding sleepless uncertainty. Baseball has always carried its quirks: rally caps, lucky bats, game day routines, but nothing consumes more imagination or dollars than that haunted Milwaukee hotel. While Teoscar was moving out of his suite to keep ghosts at bay, another athlete decades earlier was changing what players wore and inadvertently creating a global fashion economy from one small superstition. Before every Chicago Bulls game in the late 1980s, Michael Jordan performed a ritual that seemed almost trivial. Underneath his Red Bulls uniform, he wore a pair of his old University of North Carolina practice shorts. They were his token of luck, a reminder of where he came from. The problem was the NBA uniforms of that era were tight and short, barely enough room for the extra layer, so Jordan asked for longer, looser shorts so he could hide the Carolina pair underneath. That small tailoring request quietly altered sports fashion forever. By the early 1990s, the entire league followed suit with longer shorts, a style later embraced by Michigan's Fab Five and the broader streetwear movement. What began as a private superstition turned into a new silhouette for professional basketball. The shorter inseams vanished almost overnight, and global apparel brands took note. From a business perspective, that one ritual had industrial consequences. Nike, Jordan's longtime partner, saw an opportunity to merge individuality with design. Longer shorts allow for larger logos, more fabric variations, and eventually entire fashion lines marketed around authentic game fit. By the 2000s, the Jordan brand had grown from a sneaker offshoot into a multi-billion-dollar apparel empire. Those same loose-cut shorts became staples, not just on courts, but in casual wear worldwide. Meanwhile, the NBA adjusted its uniform policies, relaxing rules to allow player-influenced design. What started as accommodation for one player's superstition evolved into a framework for collaboration between athletes and apparel companies. Teams permitted linked personalization, colors, and materials that reflected player comfort and personal routine. Each change served performance first, but always carried marketing weight. Fans adopted the visual cues immediately. Wearing longer basketball shorts became shorthand for competitive swagger, a borrowed confidence from the best player in the world. They didn't know about the Carolina practice shorts hidden underneath. They just saw a new look to imitate. But unconsciously, they were buying into Jordan's ritual. Because rituals connect emotionally, consumers wanted to own a piece of what made their hero unstoppable. The superstition became a sales story. Psychologists studying sports behavior describe this as transferred belief, when fans attach emotional value to an athlete's routine and replicate it in their own lives. It's why young players copy pre-game gestures, warm-up dances, or shooting drills. In Jordan's case, that imitation directly fueled merchandise sales. Every pair of shorts bore an invisible promise. Play like Mike. The business value of that belief turned personal superstition into a cornerstone of Nike's design philosophy. The financial legacy is staggering. The Jordan brand alone generates over $2.5 billion annually, with apparel representing a large slice of that revenue. From a corporate viewpoint, one man's lucky shorts habit justified decades of creative licensing. It transformed athlete rituals from private quirks into commercial products. Before Jordan, teams tolerated superstition. After him, they marketed it. His simple preference for comfort reshaped basketball fashion, but it also signaled something deeper: the understanding that superstition doesn't have to be irrational. Managed well, it can become an asset. As Hernandez's haunted hotel showed how belief can cost a team money, Jordan revealed how belief can earn it. Both decisions started from the same impulse: do whatever it takes to feel right before the game. In sports where every performance is measured and every error magnified, the emotional margin between calm and chaos is worth real dollars. Jordan didn't set out to rewrite fashion codes. He just wanted to wear his lucky shorts. Yet that minor act of superstition cascaded through marketing departments, licensing deals, and fan wardrobes across the world. It was the purest example of how one player's comfort, mental and physical, could evolve into a global brand identity. From haunted hotels to tailored uniforms, the message stays consistent. When athletes believe something matters, their teams and sponsors invest in it. And when that investment aligns with performance, belief becomes not a cost, but a category on the balance sheet. For Serena Williams, preparation was never just about stretching or strategy. It was about control. Before every match, she followed a ritual so exact that even small deviations could unsettle her rhythm. Shoes tied in a specific order, ball bounces counted precisely, gear arranged the same way on the bench every time. Those small actions formed a mental metronome, syncing her concentration before serve one. To outsiders, they looked like superstition. To Williams, they were structure, the frame that kept the noise of competition out of focus. When she retired from professional tennis, that discipline didn't disappear. It reshaped into a business. In 2025, Williams became the women's health advisor and partner at Ritual, a wellness brand built on transparency and science-backed supplements. Her involvement wasn't about being a face on a billboard. She tested formulas, advised product research, and connected her own routines to the brand's message about consistency and accountability. The partnership drew immediate attention because it merged two meanings of Ritual: habit as health and repetition as belief. Williams had always preached authenticity. She'd never endorsed something she didn't personally practice, and that credibility gave her influence far beyond the court. Ritual's annual revenue topped $250 million before Williams joined, but her integration as an advisor, not just ambassador, helped position the brand for mainstream retail launch. Ulta Beauty signed distribution across 300 stores that same year, and suddenly her rituals had measurable returns. Each morning supplement capsule represented the intersection of personal belief and corporate growth. To Williams, there was logic behind the pattern. Repetition created confidence. Confidence created calm. Calm produced results. Sports psychologists confirm that those processes are critical in pressure environments. Rituals, whether spiritual or systematic, act as psychological anchors that signal readiness and reduce uncertainty. For elite athletes whose performance swings on small emotional cues, maintaining ritual can be a performance safeguard as tangible as stretching or nutrition. But Ritual, the company, elevated that idea into commerce. Its marketing didn't mock superstition, it professionalized it. The brand reframed daily habits as data-driven wellness routines, appealing to consumers who wanted order in chaotic schedules. And with Williams tied to the mission as both user and architect, the loop closed naturally. Her identity, the perfectionist who prepared for every possibility, became product philosophy. Economically, this altered how athlete endorsements worked. Traditional sponsorship pays for exposure, a logo on a sleeve, a post-match mention, a social media photo. Williams's deal built equity instead of dependency. By integrating into development, she captured long-term value instead of short-term fees, proving that authentic Ritual could yield sustained revenue. When fans bought Ritual supplements, they weren't just buying multivitamins, they were participating in Williams's pre-match calm, adopting a slice of composure from one of the most disciplined competitors in sports. It blurred the line between superstition, discipline, and brand identity. Like Jordan's lucky shorts, her steady routine became both personal compass and commercial narrative. Both athletes turned repetition into recognition and recognition into a business model. Williams didn't chase luck, she managed it systematically, and that management, converting belief into structure, showed the industry that superstition doesn't have to disappear under analytics, it can adapt, scale, and even pay dividends. Across tennis and wellness, Williams translated a once private behavior into tangible impact. For professionals watching from boardrooms, the lesson was unmistakable. When belief aligns with product and brand integrity, it's not irrational, it's strategic. Every superstition eventually surfaces on a balance sheet. For teams, it starts in small lines: travel amendments, dietary contracts, custom equipment orders. But multiply those accommodations across a roster in a season, and the totals can escalate quickly. A private suite for a nervous player, individualized nutrition for religious needs, quiet rooms for prayer or meditation, all legitimate expenses derived from belief. Executives rarely debate their purpose anymore. A calm roster performs better, and morale extends to productivity statistics teams, now analyzed daily. Sports economists call it belief budgeting, a growing category in organizational spending that focuses on comfort as insurance. Larger franchises absorb it easily. Smaller market clubs feel the pinch when each deviation adds to operating costs. Yet most agree it's cheaper to respect a ritual than risk denting performance or confidence. In a results-driven business, superstition has real market value. Teams quietly account for it, acknowledging what can't be quantified by stats, the confidence that comes from feeling right. When Teoscar Hernandez paid for a hotel room outside the Dodgers block in Milwaukee, the immediate bill may have looked petty next to a multi-million-dollar playoff payroll, but symbolically, it proves something every major franchise already understands. Belief carries financial weight. Peace of mind is as vital as velocity or batting averages, and teams will spend to preserve it. Superstition isn't ignorance, it's psychology framed through habit. For athletes, those habits provide rhythm and assurance amid overwhelming scrutiny. For organizations, their risk management disguised as eccentricity. A few $1,000s for alternate lodging, customized apparel, or individualized supplement shipments might seem like indulgence. In truth, it's performance insurance. Lose a game due to mental distraction, and the financial ripple can dwarf those costs. From haunted hotels to the boardroom, the economics of belief remain constant. The calm athlete performs better, sells stronger, and sustains longer careers. The executives who grasp that treat rituals not as quirks, but as assets. And as data analytics grow more precise, respect for the human side of performance grows with them. The smartest teams keep a budget line not just for training and travel, but for faith. However, each player defines it. If you want more stories about how psychology drives profit in sports, subscribe and watch our next episode.